But I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm looking at how things have been going recently the last 2 days with these two teams. I have a lot of faith in BETBOOM with these picks. I think this is.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think Falcons has to snowball this game and end early, or it might be very hard.
Let's see if Earth Spirit turns out to be a viable here. 0.36. It's lower bracket finals time. Let's get into it with the PodCap Pandas.
Prepare for battle!
OK， 兄弟们，全体目光向我看齐啊！
Welcome everybody to the lower bracket finals, and welcome to what could be BETBOOM's hardest test. After all, Game of Gladiators is sitting there waiting in the grand final, but I would argue this matchup is harder for BETBOOM because after all, they have yet to be able to beat Falcons in a single series. They've won some individual games, Avery, but they have not been able to beat Falcons a single time in any of these best of threes. Even the group stage games, they go 1-1. They have a 20% win rate against Falcons.
30 seconds to battle.
That is an uphill battle, but you know what they say. Everything happens in Dota at least once.
I've never heard that phrase before, so
I just made it up.
Roll with it.
So for BETBOOM, this might be the one time they need it. You only need one. Maybe make that lower bracket run in that championship that they've been looking for a long time now. It's the rosters, this is the patch they can do it on. Honestly, I've liked some of their ideas, and I think the biggest thing they have going for them is it's a new patch, but they got to play a lot of the games on this new patch going through this lower bracket. So they've got to test more stuff out, figure out what's working for them. I think GPK has been having a hell of a tournament too. This is a guy that a lot of people used to clown on him a bit for, you know, his tilting or the GPK nonsense mid game, like he throws, he dies. But he is having some deathless series this event. He's been having some perfect games. Yep. And he has just been racking up KDA. So there's one player for me that stood out at this event for BETBOOM that's been that solid rock for them when some of the other stuff maybe has been working some games, maybe hasn't. It's this guy right here in GPK. I'm looking at him this series to step up because a big part of dealing with Falcons and their dominance this year has been shutting down Malrine. You have to slow down his momentum. You have to put him in a position where he's not just going 10-0, 12-0 on the Timbersaws, on the Razors, scaling out of control. And GPK, I mean, this falls on you first, right? Get yourself a good laning phase, put yourself out in front. It'll be ATF claiming some early momentum here with the Centaur War Runner. First the Enchantress, not an easy first blood kill, but they will find it.
Better roll in here from Malrine. This matchup truly is the unstoppable force versus the immovable object. GPK has the lowest death average of any of the players here at Dream League, while Malrine has the highest kill average of anybody here at Dream League. So you are talking about an absolute killer in Malrine against GPK, who just seems to be elusive as hell, and even though they're here in the lower bracket, has just simply not died that many times. In fact, he averages a little over 2 deaths a game,
which is pretty absurd.
Yeah.
One thing that does help him, though, is he plays a lot of these elusive heroes lately.
Yeah.
Like the Storm we saw got banned. That is going to be one of his go-tos if he ever gets his hands on it. The Wind Ranger, another one. These types of heroes, they scale really well. They're really hard to kill once they start building momentum. And it's something BETBOOM can rally behind. Also interested to see how Nightfall can make this Tiny work again, because this has become one of those carries that on paper just seems absurd. We saw it yesterday in the hands of Ame in that game. They didn't win that game, but that time you put them in a position to win that game. Yeah. And it just does some crazy stuff. The slow resistance. He's one of the few heroes that has innate status resistance left. After a lot of the status resistance got removed from the Sange builds up. That's a rare trait to have nowadays. And this new Craggy is just ridiculous in the right-click matchups. So he has so many of these little passes, just turning him into this monstrosity if you get there.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Tiny is going to be like one of my most hated carries to go up against as an offlaner. I've already felt it, like I've already played up against it like 3 different times, and I could just feel like, oh my god, this guy's so oppressive. You can't really hit him very much. He hits back like a truck. He's gonna take the CS advantage over you. There's nothing you can really do about that because his base attack damage is so high, so much higher than yours. And he just becomes a beast in the lane.
You say that, but ATF is matching him here. Double Bracer Centaur, he's already up to 90 damage on the board. And this hero is another hero with his laning phase is just ridiculous now because he basically gets free boots on top of everything else. ATF living his best life here and cruising through this laning phase. In fact, all Falcons cores off to a pretty swift start here. I'm in 3 of the top 4. Team just CS is damn well. One of the things you have to match. I think BETBOOM is one of the teams that can match that. But I think they're one of the teams in the world where their core players can go toe-to-toe. But is it a difficult task, especially in a full-out series where elimination's on the line?
So crazy to me how Amar starts every lane just getting so much CS that he's always able to get this double bracer timing super fast, and then at that point in time, like the rest of the CS is easy, right? Once you get to your double bracer, yeah, maybe.
Why? Yeah. Why not? I mean, it's move speed on this hero, right? You're just replacing the boot slot with another bracer. Hella efficient.
Oh yeah. I think Centaur got that really nice buff as well, because now when you use double edge, right, you're getting strength off of it. Well, okay, that is also turning into movement speed. So now you can actually constantly be using double edge in these fights and keep up with heroes, which was a problem with Centaur in the past. A lot of that was fixed through the stomp animation being changed, but now it gets fixed even further by this double edge and extra movement speed off the facet.
Also interesting that we see Snaking go for this Hellbearer convert that we were looking at bottom.
Yep.
He went for the Alpha Wolf in some of their previous games, but maybe something about their lineup here just wanted the Hellbearer. Maybe the laning's a bit better or something. But nothing sticks out to me because the big Hellbearer doesn't have an aura anymore. It has a death throw for boosted damage, but I don't know if that's something you're going to play. Like, are you planning to run this Hellbearer in the fight and kill it for the death throw aura? Mini one does have an aura, but of course it forces you to summon the larger one later. So this is one of those that's like really interesting. You know, I would love to ask him why he opted for the Hellbearer here over the Alpha Wolf, where he talked about it just being super reliable, which makes sense to me. You're just getting damage aura over the whole game.
Yeah. I will say, if you do get that death throw, it is a massive buff.
Oh yeah, it is.
To a hero like Gyrocopter or even Earth Spirit, who has very high base stats. Go on Skeeter here. Run him down. They saw the Chen move out of lane, and they just immediately pounced.
Really nice. Really nice little move there. Gets themselves a big win on this safe lane, and it'll be Malri making the first move here. And a big guaranteed kill on Nightfall. Overwhelming amount of damage with that Magnetize.
Both junglers leaving their carries alone,
and Radiant's middle
immediately get punished for it.
Much like cordwood before axe's axe.
Well, on the BETBOOM side, they didn't have to rotate their mid, so
Radiant's middle tower is under
GPK's just taking mid tower off that rotation. He's making the most of it. Doesn't want to move. He'll get a shield rune, and he'll just focus fire this tier 1 down. Force crit to respawn. He's getting something out of this period.
Under attack.
7-minute Wisdom Runes coming in, but with the Earth Spirit returning back to mid, don't think anybody is going to be in a position to do any kind of steals. Rotation in from behind from Toronto Tokyo. This hero is quite the menace. It's one of the supports that is able to do an insane amount of damage as the game goes later, right? A pure damage source that doesn't run out of steam. Crazy good, but then they added this facet, which just makes it even stronger, where you're getting extra attack range when you enchant somebody. So you can enchant them from farther away and then just throw out these impetuses from super far away, doing even more damage than she did before.
This is one of those that on paper is like, oh, yeah, that's nice, but then when you play it, it's just absurd.
Yeah.
It makes her a real menace in the early exchanges, even bigger menace in the late game team fights, especially if you can get to slaying like the Hurricane Pike. You get the range you can throw out these impetus. That is absurd.
Yeah.
Turns her into a much better like semi-carry from that support position. Not that it was necessarily bad before. Definitely helps your cause. Level 5 for the Chen. He does have this big Hellbearer if he wants to give it. That might be one of the stolen ones. Toronto Tokyo is going to make the gank towards Malrine. This would be a really nice kill if they can snag it, but their lockdown is pretty limited.
Yeah.
They have to be able to catch Malrine either in the shackle or the calling this game to really slow him down in the fights. And maybe it's one of the reasons he opted for the Earth Spirit this game. Maybe this hero doesn't play the fights as smoothly as he used to, but just spamming the resonance. But this facet gives him so much extra right-click damage.
The red mist
I would not be
spreads,
surprised to
and
see
Radiant's
more
middle
of these
tower
Earth Spirits
and
build
Dire's
into
top
some
tower
sort
is
of
under
right-click
attack.
item or a mini attack speed item. If you get magnetized on a couple stones,
Radiant's
it's a
middle
lot of
tower
extra
is under
damage.
attack.
Yeah.
Dire's top tower.
I mean, what do you
is
think
under
that build
attack.
kind of looks like? Because right now it'd just be like late mail,
Radiant's middle
BKB.
tower
You're still going to get a good amount of right clicking in with
fallen.
that kind of build as a core Earth Spirit.
I have no idea, but you know, I could see like your 6 slots late game end up with maybe an AC or something.
Radiant's middle tower
This
is
hero gets
under
really
attack.
tanky. He's still one of the highest strength gains in Dota,
Yeah.
and that also helps his damage here. So if you just get a little attack speed somewhere in there, it's a lot of value by default, but it's extra value with this new facet. You can take Spark of Courage as well. So armor is very good for this hero, and
War has
attack
come
speed
to
is now very
Radiant's
good.
bottom tower.
There's got to be some build where you can make it all work together.
Snake King coming back through the gate to help secure Skeeter's lane once again.
Pretty slow early game here for both teams. Just farming up a lot. We see a couple tier 1 towers drop, but it is going to be GPK making his move towards bottom to try and break this static lane phase open. He's got an AF damage rune, so Skeeter is long gone here.
Very dead, but Malrine, can he get the punish here? Trying to roll after GPK. Misses that initial roll, and he's going to go for Miro instead with the enchant, but the power shot doing a healthy amount of damage, and Malrine's got to get out of here. They're going to use the Stampede, try and run down Miro, while Malrine plays it
so
slow
hard.
and just keeps on stacking up the Magnetize, but it's just not doing enough damage to get any kills out of this, and the power shot lands. GPK gets the kill on Malrine. Now they're going to hunt down the supports as well. Crit getting feared. They only need a little bit more damage, and the impetus is almost enough. Another power shot. GPK racking them up and knocking them down.
Just a perfect rotation from him off an AF damage rune that Falcons were just not ready for. You combine that with the Slaughter amp coming through on these heroes, and yeah, your Earth Spirit's tanky, but nowhere near tanky enough. And that Shen armor is only going to do so much here. Like, look at these hits coming through. I mean, Crit even dodged a few of them, but just a nasty amount of damage. And of course, whenever you can land those extra power shots, you're going to be real happy with this team fight. That's just going to push him up to a Maelstrom basically done. GPK having a hell of an early game here. Again, he is my go-to for BETBOOM if they want to overcome their demons and finally beat Falcons in a series they've never been able to accomplish here. Well,
Yeah.
GPK might just be the thing that pushes you over the edge. He is very far up the net worth, and I think Wind Ranger is one of these heroes. Maybe nothing crazy happened to this hero, but it just became slightly better, right? Everything about her is just a little bit better, a little bit more move speed, buffs the team, and she still gives you that raw killing power on these tanky cores, which I think is a big deal this patch.
Yeah.
You're going to see so many of these heroes like the Centaur here, like these Earth Spirit. They're just tanking up. They're getting shrouds. They're getting hearts. You're going to have blade mails, triple bracers, whatever it is. A lot more heroes can scale through the stats now than used to, which means you need raw damage at some point. You need to be able to cut these heroes down to size and actually chunk them with these stat buildups where they might have 3,000 or 4,000 HP with 70% resist. Flat spell damage is not doing it anymore. You need heroes that can scale and give you that oomph in the late game. I think Wind Ranger is one of those that can often reliably do that.
Which makes me call into question the Earth Spirit pickup. He may be a tanky hero, so he kind of fits some of the archetype right there, but damage-wise, I feel like he won't match up very well.
Well, that's the X factor, right? With the new facet, this hero is often a menace in the late game just by the fact that he out-survives you and he's continually stunning you, continually dealing these small instances of damage. You get Ashivas, you get other items that amp it up even more. He just becomes a late game menace. Most of the time he gets there. Maybe this facet pushes him over the edge. But I agree, things like Eternal Shroud, Heart, it seem tough for him to... It's going to be tough for the Centaur plus Earth Spirit here in the late game to punch through that if BETBOOM can get that online. Perhaps on the Slardar here, perhaps an Ag's Wind Ranger you might not be able to see. Tiny with the slow resistance. The stats resistance has got to be good. Gyro is not... I mean, we've seen Skeeter do some ridiculous things with this hero, but in theory, Gyro is not the best best single target burst damage character.
Sure.
I don't know if that's... I mean, he can do it, but he's not necessarily designed for it. So if this game is BETBOOM favored at that 30, 35 minute mark, I can see those team fights being difficult for Falcons. I think they want to get something going here and start to build a bit of an advantage, particularly for Malrine and ATF. They're going to try and do that with this blink reveal, kill the unkillable.
Oh, the fear shot comes through, stalling up the Earth Spirit's damage. Amar still going to try and chase after GPK here with a Stampede, turnaround shackle shot, caught him on the other side of the tower, and Nightfall actually TPs in to ensure that this fight is going to go well for BETBOOM. Very nice rotation from the carry. Malrine still keeping up the damage, though. Looks like they'll pick off Toronto Tokyo. Can this magnetize bring anybody down? No. Unfortunately, the heroes are just too tanky. The magnetize might last 10 seconds, but nobody gets low enough for Malrine to actually finish the job.
Yeah, all the damage just getting spread around here. BETBOOM will take that. A blink reveal gank for Falcons that went on their mid, and GPK survives. It's also your mech hand to God, so Falcons blew a lot for that team fight. Do get the tier 1 tower, not going to be too sad about it, but not getting that big mid hero that they wanted out of that exchange and losing their Centaur to boot.
Maybe another factor of GPK's pretty deathless run of things lately. Heavy rotations to help him out when he needed it. They brought all 5 heroes at BETBOOM.
They were ready for that one. Anticipated it pretty damn well.
What is it with this trend of just mass rotation of heroes? Everybody comes to the fight all the time now.
New patch, you don't know what's going on, just play together.
I felt like we saw it a lot last match too, though. Jump onto Amar, fear shot back in. Malrine actually getting stunned as he rolls into things, but the Centaur's just too tanky. BETBOOM did not feel like they could get the kill fast enough.
It's hard for them to man up on ATF right now because of the blade mail threat. Same with Malrine. Like, GPK cannot commit a focus fire into these heroes. He's just going to kill himself.
Right.
That's something that they're going to have to figure out, and it will just be second item BKB from GPK to open up those opportunities. I like it. Like, maybe you'd rather be able to go something else here, but there's just no way for him to give BETBOOM the damage they need versus these double blade mail, unless he can man up through them. BKB guarantees that. It's also like a mini stat damage item for the universal hero, so
I think that's the crazy part about BKB is that it's like still pretty good stats for so many heroes, right? It gives you damage and then it gives you strength, which a lot of heroes, you know, like for this example, Wind Ranger's universal, so she's still getting extra damage out of those stats as well.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
a very good item. No doubt about it.
Nature attend us.
Pop this Enchantress real quick.
Tower is under attack.
Take her out of the thing. I guess another note is that Falcons don't have any BKB piercing disables outside of the Bash, I guess.
War has come to Radiant's
sorry. Thinking of Slardar. They're on the same team. So they have no BKB piercing disables, right? So if the Wind Ranger gets BKB, she could just run down the gyrocopter, which is kind of her job in team fights, right?
That's what I'm saying. GPK can be a big problem for Falcons here with this early BKB timing. There's not much counterplay they have other than you divine favor the guy and heal him up, which is annoying. Shen can be really annoying in these single target burst scenarios.
Yeah.
There's a lot of armor being built on the side of Falcons. But ideally, they want to get some control for him later. Some Dispels, some Abyssals, I don't know, something to help find this Wind Ranger back in fight. Maybe Malrine just rolling in is enough to catch him. Might be able to rely on that. And he is going the Sanj and Yasha here. Likes the extra move and attack speed.
Okay. Maybe this is where Spirit's able to push through on these tankier heroes, is through the right-click damage that he's been given. Big push coming in the bottom lane. BETBOOM not really responding. So looks like this tower could be for free.
Bottom tower is
something to keep in mind is something like Sanj and Yasha on this hero is some extra farming speed as well.
Do not blame
this hero doesn't really just clear waves off his spells alone, so speeding up the process with which you finish off a creep wave or finish off a neutral camp can add up over the course of a game. Move speed's never bad. I can kind of get behind it. You're just going to have ATF building the armor items here. Shiva's, Lotus, Shard on the menu. Lotus and Shivas are going to be huge in this game if you can get them on multiple heroes. Any sort of armor deficit you can make up against Nero is going to feel good. And that Roshan is still sitting there. Gotta be thinking about it soon if you're BETBOOM, because you could be doing it. You're probably waiting for the Wind Ranger BKB to force that fight. The Slardar Eternal Shroud would also allow you to do that.
Good jump on the squirrel, crit. Silence immediately afterwards. Power shot comes through. The Chen heals, though, is enough. Even if they land that shackle shot, it's too deep for BETBOOM to dive. They know that Falcons is likely to punish any sort of overextension. So
look at this move. Stampede and got on cooldown.
He's under attack.
Got something out of that go. Falcons will wisely back off. Will they?
Oh, they're going to catch him in the river, perhaps.
Oh, he blinked back?
He blinked backwards.
Oh, there's no way.
There's no way. With the supports chasing like this, they wanted to make the move, but the supports are on the front line, and Malrine sees that as an opportunity, but he just gets caught by the Wind Ranger, so he trades his life for a support. Not the best. GPKs might take some damage here. The shot lands onto Toronto Tokyo instead. He already pre-popped the heal.
Can we get a replay of that shackle? That was insanely fast. He hit him on the Hellbear, I think, so the convert trained Malrine in this fight. He just rolls straight into his death.
Radiant's bottom tower is
Again,
under
the
attack.
lockdown for BETBOOM is you kind of have to catch a Surf Spirit in a long duration shackle for the calling. Yeah, that blink was very unfortunate, but super heads up shackle from GPK.
I could almost guarantee he clicked on the minimap.
Oh, he got feared out by save and then max shackle range. That's a nice little pickup for them.
Back into the game, looks like Falcons strike a bit of revenge, but again, supports that they're picking off, not cores.
You have to keep in mind the Chen differential here. There's a reason Chen is still a first pick hero, especially for Falcons, is they like to get their supports farmed, and this is probably the best farming support in Dota, no question about it. Another reason I thought maybe this Hellbear has some value, like it does clear waves a bit faster than some of the other creeps, while still giving you a buff.
My sprites are
Maybe an interesting idea. So let's.
Oh, that's a sneaky move.
Oh yeah, this is nice.
I was just about to complain about the fact that, BETBOOM have Roshan taking capabilities, but Falcons are the one always controlling the Roshan area, right? They were controlling up the top side during nighttime. Now they're controlling the bottom right part of the map here.
They can also force the Rosh. That's why I brought it up early, is if you're BETBOOM, you might have to think about it earlier than you want to in this game, because if you ignore it for a while, I think at some point Falcons are just going to go in the pit with the Chen army.
The red
They're just going to do it in front of your face. And they're not going to shy away from that 5-on-5, because their lineup is built for it. And this time might have just come. Like, okay, you're not going to fight us. We're camping our ward. Time to do Rosh with some penitence and some creeps.
In which case, that's why I like BETBOOM's move so much, is that, like, if you're not going to take that fight, if you feel like the 5-on-5 is too tough and Falcons is camping the part of the map where Roshan is, then, min-max things would be taking the Tormentor away from them, right? That's 2,800 gold advantage that you're getting over Falcons.
I think they'd rather have Roshan than Tormentors here, but I agree. If you don't feel confident taking that 5-on-5, you better get some advantage somewhere else. And they got 2 shards in exchange for it, so honestly, I guess one can argue 2 shards is worth more than this first Aegis in a lot of situations.
Yeah, 100%.
This first Aegis is not that good usually unless you can really push with it. Now the question here is, you do have this Chen Gyro lineup. We've seen Falcons really snowball games with this. You have a lot of net worth on this Chen. Is this an Aegis you can use to go high ground potentially very early in this game? We're seeing some earlier high grounds here.
Yep.
If you're Falcons, you really want to get value out of this exchange. You want to be taking some tier 2 heroes, maybe threatening the high ground. Not that you necessarily commit to the high ground, but if you bring BETBOOM back, you're at least getting some farm advantage on the map. Because right now, BETBOOM, they got a decent amount out of this period. Double Tormentor into farming the map. That's 2 or 3
across, spotting some heroes, blinking on GPK, attempted to, goes for the tiny. Now that's a nice little crush, lined up with this focus fire, doing a lot of damage, but he's got to be careful with that blade mail, and that's why GPK has to back away. Malrine, heroes are low, he's got this nice magnetize. Oh, the shot from Kryn, attempted to assassinate GPK, but he lives on just like 10 HP.
Oh, GPK showing us why this tournament has been so damn good for him. He plays that fight absolutely perfectly. Double long duration shackle on 2 cores, BKB, they ignore the blade mails. It just turns that all around for BETBOOM and still manages to survive through the magnetize at the end with single digit HP. Still, we're seeing the single target turnaround this Chen can provide for Falcons right now, and why they're confident to go in these fights, even if they're not going their way. You man up on this first target with your Slardar Amp, your Tiny Combo, your Focus Fire. He's half HP with Divine Favor and heals.
Yeah.
So that part of the problem has not been figured out by BETBOOM yet. Falcons still have some tempo here. Aiming towards this tier 2 would be a nice little pickup.
Dire's top tower.
Try and kill the
is
wave,
under
but
attack.
I don't think there's anything
Radiant
stopping
structures are
Falcons from
fortified.
grabbing the tier 2s they want with this Aegis. 3 minutes left on it.
In fact, Nightfall, he just committed for second
Dire's
BKB
top
here on the
tower is
Tiny.
under attack.
Not even going for that Shadowblade Silver Edge first. Maybe recognizing that there aren't going to be as many
Dire's top
pickoffs
tower
if Falcons
is
are
in
just going to group this
water.
game.
Yeah.
And needs BKB for the entry into the fight. Still probably not the order of build-up he would have preferred in a game that was running completely smooth for him. But Falcons don't give you easy choices. They'll hold Aegis for 2.5 here.
Dude, they are dismantling these smoke ganks. It's just not working for Falcons that well. Now, with the Gale Force pushing them back into play, they're going to try and play this out, but they're going into an Aegis. So Falcons, they're going to play this, waiting for the second life of the Gyrocopter. Can they help Skater out here? It's going to be chased down by the Focus Fire. They pop the Stampede to try and get him out, but a Shackled Shot toss him in the air, and he's dead. Now looking for more, but one forward. Miro takes it. Malrine can't roll away. Now he's going to get crushed on another block shot. He is just not letting Malrine roll away, but they need the damage to follow it up, and finally it's coming. The last shot in for the Impetus will land, and that's good enough. Meanwhile, the Magnetize fails to get a single kill as BETBOOM push through it all. Are they going to get a Rampage crit? He does still have his ultimate here. Might give him that extra bit of mobility he needs to get away from Miro, but Miro gets the bash, now the crush. That'll be just a total team wipe.
5-0 there, and that was the Aegis push by Falcons. Skeeter just didn't get to play Dota in this fight. The BKBs, like we said, there's no control for them. It just guarantees a man up on that second life. And I mean, MVP of this fight is Miro for sure. He had double roll block into a double core stun, even finds a hoodwink at the end. Just a really nice aggressive gameplay from the Slardar, setting a lot of this team fight up. That Magnetize did a lot, but a lot is sometimes not enough there. Is what would have you done to have a Shivas in that fight to amp it all up?
Yeah.
You're just a little behind in this game, and it has cost you a lot if you are Falcons right now. You are 10k down after that team fight. You did not get the value out of that Aegis, which means BETBOOM super happy with their macro decisions in this game so far.
I am very happy with the discipline that we're seeing out of them. Right, the really good job that they're doing positioning to break smokes. GPK is just going to pop the BKB just to make sure.
He's not even going to risk some Centaur stun coming through.
Yeah, exactly.
It will be the AC for the Earth Spirit.
All right.
There you go.
Down.
I mean, it's like, well, you know, what else can you build that gives you that little attack speed and tanks you up? It's AC. You already have a Shivas on the Centaur. Haven't really been able to see him get the aggressive sort of team fight he's wanted out of this Earth Spirit buildup. Doesn't mean it can't happen. However, Shadowblade done for Nightfall. He's going into Daedalus. I'm gonna start hitting hard, man. And the concern, I think, for Falcons here is not, okay, if we get our Earth Spirit Centaur to like ultra late, okay, maybe these builds can come together, but is Skeeter gonna have any sort of momentum going into these ultra late game fights versus overwhelming single target burst, which is usually where Gyro suffers?
Yep.
You're gonna get Slardar amped, you're gonna get Focus fired, you're gonna have a Tiny wailing on your ass, they're all gonna be BKB'd. It's just not the type of engagement where Gyro thrives. And normally this hero does a lot of work for Falcons in building momentum, building tempo, using the Aegis, pushing the buildings. I just don't see good pathways towards Skeeter having impact in these later fights unless he can regain a net worth advantage somehow. I mean, this Sardar's about to have Eternal Shroud Ags, 4,000 HP, and be sitting in a puddle. There are no easy targets in this BETBOOM lineup.
Falcons, how many smokes have they gone through with no success from the outcome? Another situation where They're smoked up, and they know where BETBOOM is.
Yeah, you can scan him here all you want, but who's going in?
You don't want to go into that corner again. They know the high ground vision is likely there. That last fight went way too well for BETBOOM not to have a high ground vision.
Toronto Tokyo, he has his Hurricane Pike. He got Enchanted Quiver off the neutral item. We're also going to see another Vindicator Axe for this Tiny. That just feels like the best neutral item for this hero. It's so damn good on every level.
Trying to chase after him. Maureen didn't make it that far. Missed out on the longer roll, and now he's going to get silenced up. Pull back in. Back of the silence. A beautiful shackle that knocks down GPK. They just destroys that gyrocopter. There's nothing he can do about it. Amar tried his best to do some damage, but he's going to get kited around all that HP just to try and TP out. Doesn't even make it. Miro's there in time with the crush.
Got all the armor in the world. Nothing to do with it. Another very one-sided team fight here for BETBOOM as they have just taken this game over. Once more, 2 core hero shackle, including the gyro. I don't think Skeeter got to do anything in that fight. Nightfall just obliterated him, man. He like 2-shot him off the cleave or something.
Yep.
That was disgusting.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
One hell of a performance by GPK and Miro. Honestly, it feels like Nightfall is just kind of, you know, no disrespect for him, but he's kind of along for the ride.
Yeah,
I feel like his team is winning the game for him.
I would put it, his life has been made easy, which is, I think, that should be the goal of every Dota team. Make your carry's life easy. When your carry has an easy game, you're probably going to win. He's just been able to stroll in these fights. There's bed stuns, casually pop BKB, smack a hero, he's gone. Living the dream.
Living the dream, indeed. I think one of the things I really like about this BETBOOM lineup is the diversity in damage, right? Like, you have this physical damage and minus armor threat, which Falcons have obviously addressed. They want to go a bunch of armor items.
Yep.
But even then, Save, who hasn't actually scaled quite as much as we normally see his Muerta scale, but that's a big source of magic damage that scales into the late game, and the Enchanter is a big source of pure damage. So you get this armor, but you're not necessarily dealing with what the supports are doing to you, and GPK, half of his damage is going to be magic as well.
There's a lot to contend with here. I mean, I think you, in some ways, you have the survivability in a way on this Falcons lineup, but I just don't see the damage output coming through. That's the bigger problem for them. They do have the Shivas now to help buff up some of that. You're just going to need to land some clutch stunts. You need some good bushwhacks, some good centaur stops to land. This might be the window into it with the high ground.
Yeah, BETBOOM going to break on the low ground here, throw out a ward. Lamar tries to jump in. Miro does the same. They manage to find crit here over there in the corner. Gets healed up. Healed off for now. What a shot from Skeeter, though. Big ultimate, big flat cannon shots. Everybody's getting low. And BETBOOM running out of time here as now they're ticking down to all the Magnetize. A roll in from Maureen. Snatches save up. Miro somehow doesn't die to the tick damage. And GPK is going to be left behind. He went for the kill on Skeeter, but this time around, the clump of Falcons was too strong to contend with.
Just really good positioning for Falcons. I'm surprised BETBOOM pushed into it like that.
Yeah.
They put both of their cores on the front line to try and get the initial stun with the Slaughter, but it only landed on the Hoodwink behind a tree. And that is just not good enough with ATF on the front line, not a target you want to go on. Very strong formation from Falcons, and finally, Skeeter gets to play a team fight. And that's a huge deal. He dealt the most damage here. You're going to see the Slaughter stun just not land. Nightfall commits in, but you're going on crit, and he's nowhere near dead. What even? It looked like they got shackled there or something.
It was a bushwhack, a late bushwhack.
Yeah, but
crit.
it didn't get pulled to the tree.
Yeah, it might have been just a little bit of funkiness with that corner area.
That was a massive stun there. Falcons just set that team fight up beautifully, and now they got second Aegis. Not an Aegis BETBOOM wanted to give up. Gonna be Banner plus second life for Skeeter. Regain some life in this game. You'll have to respect Chen. This is not a hero that you can ever assume you're just ahead on. So much single target armor buff up from snaking with Solar Crest, Divine Favor, Greaves. It's almost like you want to commit on a target and then switch it up once the buffs come out.
Yeah, maybe.
easier said than done, but
it is funny how it feels like the
Dire's middle tower
there is no
under
initiator's
attack.
advantage. You know what I mean?
yes, every fight has been won by the defender this game.
Yeah, and I think part of that is the tankiness of these heroes, right? If you are Falcons and you're walking into Slardar, who's in his puddle, or like the Enchantress or something, you're gonna have a hard time killing that hero fast enough, and you just are naturally gonna get like clumped up or something, or the enemy team is gonna, you know, get vision of your heroes, and they're gonna be able to pick their entrance into the fight like GPK was able to do multiple times.
I mean, both these teams also just want their formation to last throughout the fight. Like, both these teams want their backline protected because they're really important to what they're trying to do. I'd say even more so for Falcons, protecting this Chen and Hoodwink is just monumental to the fight lasting long enough and buffing up their cores. So when the fight goes into them, they're way happier in that situation.
Radiant's
There's no real
tower is
huge
under
backline
attack.
jump from BETBOOM. Like, they kind of just have to go on who they see, and that's worked out so far because you can just BKB commit in and there's no control for those BKBs, but they're getting worn down a bit here. You need these Daedalus up to make sure you can kill somebody in that BKB duration, because if they get saved, they get healed up, that fight no longer looks as favorable for you, and double armor items for these frontline boys are up. Your Shivas is done, your AC is done. Even more armor added into the equation. You're gonna need this amp damage rune in the next fight.
Yep.
Gonna need this tiny Daedalus. Tanky heroes are scary, man. Like, you just don't know where the damage thresholds are anymore. We have enough damage to kill this Earth Spirit if he rolls in and he's buffed up. I have no idea. Like, when was the last time you saw Earth Spirit with Assault Kuros, right? He has 70% physical resist.
Entering into uncharted territory.
Very hard to judge these things.
Right-click Earth Spirit.
I don't think so.
Falcons got a lot of really big items here in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, and it feels like BETBOOM realized that and know that they have to wait for their next set of items, their next bit of scaling. Like the Daedalus on GPK is going to add a lot. It seems like Nightfall feels like it's more important. Maybe this goes to what you were saying. The backline is so important. He's going to go back for a blink deck.
Underway at Radiant's top tower.
Maybe just wants to get in there immediately with the Slardar Crush. First target's down. They know their window is maybe lower in the fight than Falcons is.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Get
Radiant's
some tower damage in. I mean, Swift Blink in theory is also very good on this hero.
True.
It's not as if you're giving up a scaling item here.
Dire's bottom
Aegis
tower is
will
face
get
down
Falcons
in
some
the
time,
dirt.
some net worth, and tier 2. Will not get that fight out of it, but that was probably too much to ask for.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's middle
And it was
tower
like-
is under attack.
Over 15 minutes ago, Falcons had that first Roshan. I thought they were going to take all the tier 2s. And then they took that one team fight where they lost Skeeter twice, but now they're back on track with another Aegis. Take the remaining tier 2s. Are they ever going to go high ground with this, or are they going to be content to keep going this late? In which case, Avery, do you favor one of these teams if we start looking at a 50-minute game?
50 minutes, I'd still give it to BETBOOM. But if we go like 80 or 70, I think it gets really weird for them. I think 6-slotted Earth Spirit is just a very strange hero. You don't get to play against it a lot, but it does wacky things. You have all these Chen buffs behind him. I can see maybe you start to run out of sustain damage in those late game team fights when there's a bunch of buybacks. These hearts could come online for Falcons, which are a big deal because hearts on these heroes that can engage and disengage. You have Stampede, you have the roll in and the roll out. You throw a couple 4 staffs or something on top of that, and suddenly maybe you deal 4,000 damage to the Centaur Earth Spirit. They disengage, they heal back up, in 10 seconds they're back in the fight with 4,000 HP.
Yeah.
That's a big problem for a lineup that relies on Focus Fire #1, relies on BKBs #2, and needs things to go right in that starting interval of the fight. We saw this tiny struggle in those late game fights for Ame yesterday.
Oh, they are circling around each other right now. Whose smoke is gonna break first? Who's gonna take that blink initiation? It's gonna be Amar. Of course it's Amar.
Just the back line.
Nightfall hits the back line beautifully with Miro. They're going for Skeeter right now. Skeeter's fighting through with the light field that's coming up for the satanic. That grenade does not run out of damage, nor does Nightfall. They land to the gyrocopter. Combined, all 3 cores will finish them off. Still though, they're low and limping away after the fight with the gyrocopter. They've already killed the offlaner. Now they're going for Nightfall as well, and they've got both of them. GPK will slip away into the night, yes, but Amar and Maureen and their tanky heroes were able to win the fight after the gyro died.
I mean, Skeeter, he got melted at the end there, but he did work for Falcons here. He did the most damage in that fight by far. It was not even close. Just flagged everybody down. Oh, nice little find by GPK.
Oh no, no, no! Oh no, no, no!
Oh, Solar Crest saving lives.
He knew the Centaur and Earth Spirit are very mobile. He knows they're going to come in and try and bail out Snake King. He did not want to overstay his welcome, but he just needed to stay another quarter of a second.
Or get a couple more crits, but...
Or a little bit more luck.
Greaves armor coming into play as well.
Yeah.
He's got 50 armor when he Divine Favors himself. It's just not an easy target. It's the Chen problem.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, when you're talking about the super late game, I was like, surely, like, Chen's going to fall off in comparison to Muerta Enchantress, but then I remembered he really does just give an absurd amount of armor.
Yeah, I don't know if Chen ever falls off. Look at this creep go. He's living the best life he's ever had.
That's right.
What?
I don't know, but staying off of that one. Now they're going to get forced into the tier 4s. They really thought they were going to catch Miro. Miro gets the crush at the same time. Maureen pushing forward though. Hey, oh, the fountain! He pops a fairy fire. He dropped an item into his backpack, had a courier fairy out of fairy fire for an extra little bonus.
It just doesn't matter though. Damage is done. Get what they came for.
They're going to try and kill the army here somehow. The Ferric still alive. Skeeter comes in. Okay, I'll finish that off, but just an opportunity. They're trying to jump in. Nightfall got off the BKB. Got a toss back onto Maureen.
Nice toss.
So they do get a pick off in exchange for that lane of barracks. Can they chase for more?
They're low on the Slardar, but you would love to get something else here.
Yeah, they'll get Snake King. Maybe not ideal, but it's something.
Ron Tokyo starting to deal some damage. The thing is, it's going to be hard for him to scale his damage up for the burst situations that a lot of these fights are revolving around, but he is doing a decent amount of consistent over the fight.
I mean, that's it. Falcons did force that around the Roshan time. Roshan, it's a fast Roshan, but still, they did force that.
This ATF expect this. He always expects it.
Courier has been slain.
This guy is just way too fast.
Gotta give the cheeky smiley. Somebody check the Roshan pit. They'll know what's up, but they're on the wrong side of the map to do it, so.
That was such a fast blink. Such a fast double smiley. I mean, that all started also with ATF blinking into a Slardar crush. Which you are not going to get probably ever again in this game.
Oh, the scan catches just at the right time, right as Skeeter is farming his way back through the jungle, and I thought maybe Crit would get picked up instead. They do go for the Roshan, though. This is where we finally get to see this Slardar in action. Give you a very fast Roshan when the opening is there.
This is a big deal. I mean, it's one thing to have 2 lives on Nightfall, but it's another to take the 2 lives away from Skeeter, which is one of the factors that won him that fight on mid. Did them regain a lot of the momentum in this game. It feels like both these carries just kill each other in the fight, so whoever has the second life is better off.
Yeah.
And we're going to see Ancient Guardian for the Tiny. Even more damage.
Toronto Tokyo is trying to solve some damage issues, though. And he's going a Moon Shard.
It's just you can't, like, the problem is he's going to do more damage over the long duration, but you can't scale Enchantress's burst damage. It's capped.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest issue here, is like, how do you improve your situation for BETBOOM in going on these heroes and killing them fast, because you don't want them to get out. You don't want the heals to come out for them to just start regenning up. We're seeing these hearts start to come out. First Spirits was finished here. Regen's going to be a big deal if you can just survive. Triple Rattle Cage across the board here for Falcons as the armor continues to grow.
I love that
just armor on armor on armor on armor.
Yeah, you can kind of, I don't know if it's AUI's influence. I mean, you still have Skeeter and Snake King, but, you know, just a general Tundra influence of, like, they identify When an item is good, we're all gonna rock it.
I mean, they're all on the same page, right?
We're all gonna go this one neutral item.
Unity is stronger than 5 different ideas. Their idea is to survive right now, whereas BETBOOM, you can see it in their itemization. They are just taking every extra bit of damage they can get. Double Ancient Guardian, double Mindbreaker here, AC done for Miro, Moonshard for the Enchantress, double Daedalus, Swift Blink done for Nightfall. It's all damage. It's all designed to burst these heroes down when you can land those crushes and get the amp through. The second heart will come out for ATF, so they eventually got to the double heart timing. This is a big testing point for BETBOOM in this game, as we're going to see Falcons. They're confident enough to smoke into this Aegis.
Running straight up
5,000
to the high ground. GPK going to be the one that spotted and couldn't get off the BKB. Stunned once, and you're dead.
This Centaur is cooking, man.
War
Got
has come to
so
Radiant's
much
bottom
EHP.
tower.
It's ridiculous. And he doesn't need the boot slot. That's the ridiculous part.
Yeah, that.
He can carry a gem now. He got to Lotus too. Like, I don't know what you do to that man. I mean, you have to have Nightfall just wail on him for 10 seconds in a fight. There's no way you want to go on him first. But ATF is going to play hyper aggressive here. He's just going to want to start anything on anybody he can get.
They really want to go for Amar here. Try to go for the toss back. Miss the toss opportunity and miss the crush follow-up.
Yeah, that might have been good for them, honestly. I don't know if that's the target you want to start the fight on.
Trying to assassinate the golem to take away some of that big HP, but Toronto Tokyo just gets himself killed. Save has to pop his ultimate to deal with the black cannon shots. And they're going left already. GPK goes for the gyrocopter though. Couldn't quite get him. BKB and Win running away now, but Amar's going to try and chase after him. Slowed down. Nightfall going to be kicked and missiled. They got one of the buildings, but a glyph goes out. Reset from Falcons. No Enchantress, so they still have the advantage here. He took away the Aegis from Nightfall. They're feeling good about this situation. How does BETBOOM take this fight?
I don't know, man. I just don't see an opening. There's too much survivability here. You have to find the Chen. I don't think you have or toss back, maybe. I guess you can try and toss back a core and just burst him really deep in the base. Yeah, or maybe the supports can't bail him out.
What they wanted to do with Amar earlier.
Nightfall's just killing himself, though. Late mails to retaliate.
Amar's just going to keep on forcing the issue. Shackle shot. Lightning follow-up. Nightfall gets the toss back on the gyrocopter. Can they kill him? Oh, we got the focus fire returning to him. A lot of hits back into him. And Save and GPK are not enough to burst through Skeeter. Skeeter's damage is too much to handle. BETBOOM missed their timing, I guess. They just get outscaled by raw HP. Falcons take game one.